I actually requested this to be put on the agenda. Reason being, Bridget tried to find the discussion of when the board gave a directive to one of the superintendents. I think it was the superintendent before Jerome. That the school board basically, not to say didn't want anything to do with project graduation, but didn't want the responsibility of it, didn't want the money going through the schools, wanted them to have their own separate account. And I remember in that discussion, we were gonna continue to let them use the buildings that they use for project graduation. But there had been some issues with money, there had been some issues with other things, different fundraising projects that involve alcohol, that the school board didn't want any liability of or for. So for the past, I've been on the board 7.5 years, and for the past, I'm thinking 5 years maybe. Like I said, we tried to find it, we couldn't find it.
For what?
The discussion, it was before y'all came on the board, that the board had gave a directive to get rid of project graduation. I find out that it's still being run through the schools. So I did some homework. I asked Anthony, he agreed with me. I asked Ricky Broussard, he agreed with me. I asked Stacy, he agreed with me. I asked Mr. Woody, he also agreed with me. So most everybody remembers the conversation. I just don't understand why we're still running it through the schools. Now, I'm not faulting Jerome because I don't think Jerome was superintendent at the time. In fact, I'm pretty sure he wasn't. So I guess things just continued to be done like they were because nobody knew. But I think we're probably going to have to, if we can all agree that the school board shouldn't have the responsibility of this because of the alcohol that takes place at some of these functions. The bookkeepers at school are very underpaid and have a lot of duties. They sure don't need the duties of seeing about this money. Some of these project graduations range from $80,000 to $100-something thousand. They don't need that responsibility. Also, there's talk that some schools want to cap it. Also, there's talk that some schools take 10 or 15% off the top. And that's all wrong. First of all, you can't cap it, and second of all, you shouldn't be taking nothing off the top because the money raised is for the kids that are graduating. When you raise money for something, the money should be spent on what you declared it to be raised for, okay? And these things, from what I'm gathering, are not happening. Also, the idea of all this money being raised, we can't stop it, but it's draining the rest of the fundraising activities that the other kids are trying to. It's draining the communities and the business people is what it's doing. I'm not up here to say that I don't agree that project graduation is good. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the school board does not need the responsibility of project graduation. Second of all, when those kids graduate, that night, they're no longer students of Vermilion Parish, no longer current students of Vermilion Parish School Board, okay? I don't mind we let them use the buildings. I have nothing against that, okay? I also have nothing against that class giving the next class the cleanup fee to clean up the building for them. I have no problem with those things because it's being used on the kids. I have a problem with it being capped and 10 or 15% being taken off the top. If that allegedly is true, that is wrong, okay? So what we probably need to do is discuss it right here and come up with maybe a policy. Or just flat make a motion that all monies, project graduations, they gotta get their own account and handle their own money, do their own bookkeeping. Okay, so that's kind of some history behind this. And there was reasons why, we decided to do that back then. I wish Bridget could have found the discussion of that meeting. She couldn't find it. She looked and she looked. I tried to lead her to it, but she never could find exactly what meeting it was. And as you know, to go back and find stuff like that is hard to do. Now, I saw in our packet, all of a sudden, this guidelines for project graduation popped up, and I saw on the bottom, I think it said 2003. So I'm not sure where this came from or where it's been hiding at, but this just popped up here recently.
It's from Miss Bridget.
Bridget found that?
Found that after you guys did.
I just have a statement. This is year 2 of project graduation for me, and I know we have a few parents that have dedicated their time. I feel like it's going to always fluctuate depending on who is in the class and depending on what network capabilities or close relationships that they have with community members that donate money.
Talking about money,
yes.
On how much they raise.
Yes.
Right, I agree with you.
So it's not, so yeah, I can say it can hurt a backers club because they have quite a few people that are in the project graduation class that are raising money, they're selling tickets, they, part of a lot of fundraisers. So yeah, I could say it's definitely hurting our URAS backers club for sure. But I think that's just, they gotta deal with it. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Every year it's going to fluctuate and change on who's in that class and what family is gonna donate what. I don't know how it changed to where the school was responsible. In 1996, my class was the first class to have project graduation at Vermilion Parish, and it came from Lafayette Parish. Our parents went to Lafayette Parish. They went to some meetings, they came back to Vermilion, and they did it all on their own. They raised all the money themselves. They didn't use school property to raise the money. They did use the Henry Gym to hold the function. But they were in charge of the money, which was in an account off of the campus. No secretary or bookkeeper or...
Let me stop you right there. So Bridget sent me something, I think, from 1996, is that when you say it started?
Yes.
And all it says is the school board is in support of project graduation. It never said that the school board was gonna handle the money and all this other stuff.
So I agree 100%. I don't think it should be any bookkeeper's job to collect. That's a lot of... sometimes they're collecting several different things at one time. That's a lot of money.
I don't think
that's a lot of kids coming in and out and dropping off things or parents, which can be overwhelming. And bottom line is, if something happens or something's tallied wrong, then the bookkeeper is at fault and she's responsible, and I don't think that's fair at all.
So right now, if something is to come back, they're gonna blame the bookkeeper or the school board.
Yes. I think
And
they
also, I don't
should
think
be an
the principals
independent.
have too much on their plate for them to have to worry about this also.
No.
Now listen, it's a good thing. I don't want my buddy over here to, put in the paper that I'm against project graduation. I'm not against project graduation. I'm my ex-buddy, I should say. We just need to make sure that we're doing it right. And I also said, I don't mind letting them use our buildings. I think in North Vermilion, they still use Cecil Picard, I believe. I think ERAF uses Henry. I have to go high, I'm not sure where they go. They might use their own gym. Yeah. Kaplan, do they still have project graduation?
But I still think project graduation should be similar to prom. We should have one location, bus the kids from everywhere. Everybody gets to experience an amazing prom, just like they could experience an amazing project graduation. These parents from all these communities can come together and...
But we just kind of agreed that the school board won't have
No, I'm just saying for the facility,
Right.
But I agree. And if there's a cap, I don't think we should, in a way, I don't think we should punish the parents that are willing to do the work to raise the money for their children.
But we won't have
That's
anything to do
basically what
with it. So if they want to cap it, they can cap it. If they don't want to cap it, they don't have to cap it. The school board won't have anything to do with that part of it.
And if they want to dedicate the money back to the school, to specific whatever, that's fantastic.
That's gonna be, but when you raise money and you say it's for the kids of project graduation and you take the money and you do something else with it, I'm almost positive that is illegal because you declared it was for project graduation. So, with that said, it's a restrictive, fund. We won't have that problem anymore as soon as we pass this policy or this motion, that we don't have anything to do with it as far as for money wise and all this other stuff.
I agree. Let
And if
them
they
figure
wanna
it out.
use our buildings, I think they get insurance now, correct? Just provide your insurance certificate and you can use the
I don't
building.
think they do, Hundred.
I think so if you read this
I hear
thing
it's
here.
covered by the school board like.
Well, that's another thing, that might not be happening and it's supposed to be happening. Right, if you scroll down on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, where's it at, number 12 and 11?
And if they have a fundraiser that has alcohol, they're not using it, any school board property. It's somewhere else, at a casino or a facility or.
But they're missing the point of what the things are, it's
I
alcohol-free
agree.
night
I
for
agree.
the students one last time. Instead of being on the road, they're with their family, with their,
But they have a gumbo cook-off and they have alcohol, they have a skeet shoot in Vermilion and they have alcohol. So that's all fine, but the school board won't have that liability because we won't have anything legally responsible for that.
the problem I have is when they raise $160,000, and I think last year's class raised that, $140 for one night, and it's supposed to be met, it's overboard in my eyes.
That's
my
cause
opinion.
that's only cause it's affecting your backers club.
It's not, no, that.
100% in it.
It's been affecting the backers.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
that's-
just, it's not
that's
just
It's
affecting.
not just happened last year.
That's not project graduation, folks.
I
That's the
didn't say
economy,
that.
that's all field,
But
that's
I'm
people.
saying they're
that
losing
don't
the
wanna
fact
donate
what the
anymore.
night is for. The night is supposed to be a non-alcoholic night. You don't need $160,000 to have
But
a
if
good
the
night.
backers club raised 160, nobody would be fussing.
That's my opinion.
That's my opinion.
Can I speak for a second?
We have an audience.
We don't have a motion yet, Jerome, go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna pass it to Eric, who is our chief financial officer. I think he'll answer